Alam mo yun. Sino ka? May kilala ko ba to? Ano muna tayo ngayon? Kuya!
Kabi-kabilang baha at pagguho
Nangyari ang pagguho kasunod ng landslide sa lugar.
Sa ng hangin pero hindi pa po. Di kabila na mga
Nalangan natin ang mga anak kong nawala ng pagkakasama.
Nangyari ang pagguho.
I stand here today to remind the Filipino people of the consequences of neglecting forest conservation. Ang ating mga kagubatan ay nanganganib ng unting-unting maubos, and it is our collective responsibility to urgently address this issue. Deforestation not only jeopardizes biodiversity and contributes to climate change, but also disrupts the delicate balance sustaining life in our country. Totoo na ang ating mga commercial deforestation tulad ng pagkakaingin ay may malaking porsyento ng pagpapataas ng ating ekonomiya. Pero tandaan natin na mas palalalain lang nito ang mga epekto ng mga kalamidad na mararanasan ng bawat Pilipino. Recently this month, the entire country, amidst the current upheavals, was surprised yet by another tragedy. Thousands of lives were lost, homes floated like debris, rendering the victims of the flash flood, and yet deforestation remains unabated. Succeeding generations will pay heavily. Thank you.
Hoy, ang ganda ng gusto niyang gawin, no? Malaking tulong yan sa Pilipinas. Talino niya, paano nga nagawa yun?
Si Araneta? Lah, sure ka ba? Parang wala namang kwenta yun eh. Maniniwala ka doon sa sinabi niya? Gusto lang naman niyang magkita ng pera at magka-attention. Attention seeker yarn. Huwag kang maniwala sa mga sinasabi niya.
Kaya nga, ayan na.
May palabas na sa TV din eh. Ano sinasabi yung reporter?
Noong Sabado ay hindi pa rin tumitigil ang pagbuhos ng ulan sa probinsya ng Quezon at sa mga katabing lungsod nito. Alamin natin ang kalagayan ng mga kababayan natin doon sa pagtutok ni Avian.
Halos lumubog na ang buong bayan ng Andangan dito sa Quezon Province dahil sa patuloy na pagtaas ng baha. Kabi-kabilang landslide rin mula sa bundok ang sumira sa mahigit 200 na kabahayan dito. Sa ngayon, ang ilang mga residente ang kasalukuyang hinahanap ng rescue team. Ang bayan ng Andangan ay humihingi ng tulong sa gobyerno at sa mga kababayan natin ng pagkain, mga damit at pera na pwede nilang gamitin upang makapagsimula ulit ng kanilang mga kabuhayan na ninakaw ng bagyong Nina mula sa kanila.
Sabi ko na nga nagsisimula na ang mga kalamidad.
After marinig o mabalitaan ni Don Salvador ang tungkol sa bagyo at kung ano ang naging epekto nito sa Pilipinas, ay nagpatawag siya ng pagpupulong.
Today, we witness the devastating aftermath of yet another typhoon that severely affected the lives of hundreds of Filipino people. At ito ay nagsisilbing paalala na kailangan na natin ng agarang aksyon at atensyon sa mga environmental challenges na kinakaharap natin. I have consistently advocated for the preservation of our forests at uulitin ko ulit na kailangan na natin tigilan ang pagputol ng puno at magsimulan ang deforestation. Lack of technology, lack of proper economic policies, and lack of national discipline. Iyan din ang mga kinakaharap natin na problema kung bakit hindi natin nagawa ang conservation ng maayos. Embracing technology, implementing economic policies, and instilling a sense of national discipline will pave the way for a sustainable and resilient future. Tandaan natin na hindi natin magagawa kung hindi magtutulong-tulungan ang gobyerno at ang mga Pilipino.
Gusto ni Don Salvador na maglaan ng funding sa pagbili ng modern technology raw sa US. Ano tingin niyo sa Pilipinas? Maraming inaaksayang pera.
So kung ako ang tatanungin, may mga importante pang ahensya ng gobyerno na dapat unahin kaysa doon. Isa pa, kakatapos ang malakas ng bagyo sa Quezon. Siyempre, kailangan ulit maglaan ng pera para sa mga relief goods at tulong sa pagpapatayo ng mga bahay sa mga nasalanta.
Tama, dapat makausap natin si Magsaysay tungkol dito.
Si Don Salvador Araneta ay isa sa mga pinaka-influential na environmentalist sa Pilipinas ngayon. Ayon sa kanya, ang forest cover ay may vital role sa soil building, water retaining at climate stability.
Sabi niya, sa 1954 speech niya, na ang pagkaubos ng forest cover ay pwedeng mag-lead sa cumulative erosion, which can wash away all the fertile soil na pwedeng mag-cause rin ng irreparable damage sa mga lupa natin.
And to learn more about this, let's invite Dr. Araneta here on the stage to talk about more of his advocacy.
Dr. Araneta, mukhang wala pong nakikinig sa paalala ninyo sa epekto ng patuloy na illegal logging at deforestation dito sa Pilipinas. Ano po masasabi nyo sa mga opisyal na gobyerno na hindi pinagbibigyan pansin ang ipinaglalaban ninyo?
Sa totoo lang, it is disheartening to witness these critical issues. Sa tingin ko, ang hindi pagkilos ng gobyerno ay dahil sa kulang pa ang pagkakaintindi nila sa pagkaubos ng mga puno natin.
Ano po ba itong sinasabi ninyong consequences?
Noong nakaraan lang ay nakita natin ang landslide at ang pagbaha sa Quezon. Hindi sana itong mangyayari kung marami pa rin ang puno upang makatulong ito sa hindi pagpapatuloy ng lupa at paghupa ng baha.
Meron po ba kayong gustong i-propose na solusyon sa issue na to?
Walang disiplina ang tao sa pagputol ng puno dahil walang matinong batas na pipigil sa kanila. Kaya kailangan maging mahigpit na ang gobyerno sa pagpapatupad ng batas against illegal logging.
Sa conservation po, meron din po ba kayong naiisip na solusyon?
Reforestation ang dapat natin gawin. We must invest in planting native trees. Tulad nga ng parati kong sinasabi, the higher the trees, the more benefit it can give to the soil and the surrounding country.
Ano po ba yung mga benefits na tinutukoy nyo dito?
Siyempre, una na dyan, it offers valuable resources like logs and lumber. Kung hindi natin papalitan yung mga pinutol natin na puno, mauubusan tayo ng pagkukuhaan ng kahoy. Ang mga dahon sa puno ay nagsisilbi rin na protective carpet sa lupa para makapag-retain water at ma-prevent ang soil erosion. Malaki rin ang contribution nito sa sustainable water cycle.
Marami po pala talaga ang mga benefits na makukuha natin sa pagko-conserve ng mga puno. It is not just for economic money but also for preserving soil, preventing erosion, and sustaining water resources.
Maraming salamat po sa pagpunta nyo dito para magbigay ng kaalaman sa advocacy.
Clifford! Dr. Araneta!
Hindi mawala sa isip ko yung sinabi mo kahapon sa speech, Dr. Araneta. Naalala ko tuloy yung nabasa ko dito sa librong na to, dinidefine dito yung conservation, the use of natural resources for the greatest good of the greatest number for the longest time.
Nabasa ko rin yan, Pero mas gusto ko ang sinabi ni President Eisenhower na we must intelligently use all resources we have for the welfare and benefit of all the Filipino people.
Pero paano naman natin maa-align sa conservation efforts natin yung mga ganyang philosophy?
Sa totoo lang, it's all about balancing our needs and the environment at dapat makasiguro tayo na yung mga gagawin natin ngayon doesn't mess up the future. Pero sa usapin na ganito kasi, it also leads to the concept of economic growth.
Economic growth? Ano naman ang connect nun sa conservation?
Sabi nga doon sa book, ang economic growth daw ay ang production growth about by human being utilizing nature. And also that know-how and technology are indispensable in this process.
So, paano natin ma-achieve yung economic growth?
Actually, may dalawang paraan na akong naisip. Una, kailangan makakuha na ang Pilipinas kaagad ng murang technology na kailangan para magawa yung conservation. Tapos, we also have to start from a thorough research of what has already been accomplished in other countries, which is tantamount to borrowing and for research to follow, and not to precede the establishment of a particular industry.
Borrowing sa ibang bansa? Mukhang magiging controversial yan.
Pero alam mo ba na ganyan ang ginawa ng Japan pagkatapos ng World War II? Diba ang unlad na nila ngayon? Dahil kasi yan sa pagiging magaling nila na imitator. Kumbaga, learning from the Western countries. Sabi nga nila, practical, proven, cheap, and shortcut road to inventiveness lies in making the most out of the stage of imitators and copycats.
Interesting perspective. Pero how does this tie back sa issue natin ngayon?
By learning from others and adopting their proven methods. Sigurado na tayo na kaya natin magkaroon ng economic growth na hindi nakakompromise ang environment. Tulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, it's all about finding a balance.
Easier said than done.
But it's worth trying para sa Pilipinas at sa mga susunod na henerasyon.
We're broadcasting live from the Malacañang Palace kung saan gaganapin ang inaabangan na conference ni Don Salvador Araneta kasama si President Magsaysay at ang mga senador.
Thank you for joining me today as we address the crucial intersection of conservation and economic policies. Urgently, we must embrace responsible stewardship following Rostos' insights. Firstly, land reform is key. Let's empower landowners to shift capital from land to industry for sustainable economic growth. Inflation can be a strategic tool to resource allocation. Understanding its potential allows us to channel resources from consumption to investment, fostering economic process. Next, establishing institutions for accessible working capital is paramount for economic development, supporting positive change. Foreign trade is also important as its responsibility to leverage natural resources and holds immense potential for economic prosperity while ensuring resource sustainability. Yet, we must confront challenges like destructive practices in our seas and forests. National discipline is crucial, and we must address financing and cooperation issues hindering our conservation efforts.
Member of the National Economic Council, Head Montelibano Alfredo and Araneta, went to the office of the President, Ramon Magsaysay, to discuss the austerity and oil problem.
Magandang umaga po, Mr. President. May dala po kaming report na recent analysis galing sa grupo ng 7 economists galing University of the Philippines.
Tungkol po ito sa current financial challenges na maaaring harapin ng Pilipinas.
Okay, go ahead, take a seat.
Ayon po sa pag-aaral nila na ang pagtaas ng prices ng gasolina will be a significant factor that will worsen our economic situation.
We propose that we should implement an austerity program to address the fiscal crisis, focusing on controlling spending.
Austerity? We've got more important matters to attend. Wala ba mas simpleng solusyon dyan?
I also push for initiatives to save gasoline. I urge all companies to establish refineries in the country. Hindi rin po ito pinakinggan. Pero ayon sa analysis mula sa UP na pwede magkaroon ng gasoline crisis dito sa Pilipinas.
Kaya, we strongly recommend immediate implementation of the austerity program. Kailangan din nating balikan ang ideya ng pagsuporta sa local production ng langis para maiwasan ang pagdepende natin sa importasyon.
I appreciate your insights, Mr. Alfredo and Mr. Araneta, but let's focus on more practical solutions. We can't afford to complicate things further.
Ano ba yan? Ang dami pa nating mga problema. Bigla lang sila lalaki tapos mag-propose ng austerity. May practical pa kayong solution. Wala din silang binigay. Sinayang nila oras ulit.
Dr. Salvador Araneta was the Secretary of Economic Coordination. In 1954, he laid out a proposal to address an impending gasoline shortage. He challenged the gasoline industry, urging them to invest in local refining plants. The response was mixed, skepticism prevailing due to doubts about the market's potential.
Oo nga, dapat mag-invest sa local refining plants ang Pilipinas para makapag-save tayo ng energy resources.
Kaso hindi naman kasi practical na mag-invest dahil syempre masyadong malaking pera kakailanganin para masupply yung demand dito ng gasolina.
The idea did not seem convincing on the grounds that the market for gasoline and other oil products did not justify the investment involved in establishing an oil refinery. Caltex responded affirmatively. Stanvac, another oil company, expressed its willingness to put up one, but when it learned that Caltex was far more advanced than theirs, Stanvac decided to postpone the project. Other than advocating for forest and gasoline conservation, Araneta envisioned another bold move for the country's governance, the Bayanicasan Constitution, wherein it provides for the establishment of a federal government to be known as the Federal Republic of the Philippines. It shall consist of 5 states, namely Northern Luzon, Southern Luzon, Visayas, Muslim Mindanao, and Christian Mindanao.
Tama! Dapat gawing Federal Republic ang Pilipinas para magkaisa-isa naman ng mga Pilipino.
Hindi naman kasi practical yung federalismo. Syempre, ba't mo pa ayusin yung di naman sira?
Kailangan ko magpatawag ng meeting ngayon.
Good morning. Thank you for coming on a very short notice. It is with a heavy heart and a deep sense of responsibility that I tender my resignation as your Secretary of Economic Coordination. I have always believed in serving the people with integrity and dedication, but recent events have led me to the conclusion that the administration and my visions for economic future of our nation diverge significantly. My decision to resign is primarily driven by our disagreement on the sugar export policy. I cannot endorse plans that lack merit and honesty. My commitment to principles and the welfare of our people compels me to step down.
Hoy! Nagukak si Araneta!
Maganda naman yung idea niya. Tama naman siya. Grabe gobyerno natin.
Deserve niya yun. Kasi naman yung attention seeker na yun, wala namang lumalabas na maganda sa mga sinasabi niya. Buti nga sa kanya, siya nga nagdadala ng disaster dito.
Araneta is an anti-American. He is an irresponsible experimenter and an antagonist. He is a prophet of disaster. Did you hear me? He is a prophet of disaster.
Prophet of disaster?
Grabe naman. Ba't ganun? Meron bang ganun?
Akala ko ba mabait siya?
Dr. Araneta was branded anti-American and also as an irresponsible experimenter of the people's livelihood for his persistence in adopting selective trade, the need for import controls, and the untying of the peso that was pegged with an exchange rate of 2 pesos to $1. He was also regarded antagonistic to the Rojas administration. President Rojas also referred to him as a prophet of disaster when he raised his voice against the Belt Trade Agreement, which he found to be unmindful of the post-war conditions of the new republic.
There is no antagonism to President Rojas' leadership in my stand against the Bell Act. The defeat of the act should not affect the leadership of Prestige, but let us not undersell the Philippines with the acceptance of the Bell Act. Let us not mutilate our Constitution lured by high-pressure salesmanship of a handful of Americans who are promising us the millennium.
Araneta is an... Ano ba yung video niya? Ay, nag-video na pala!
Intelligently use all Go. 3, 2...
Go!